Disclaimer: the following Boundless PodTrap episode contains strong opinions that some listeners may and will find offensive. If you cannot accept or respect others with a differing opinion from yours, then fuck off.
I like turtles.
Shush!
Oh, righty.
Let me see your war face.
Now, y'all ain't planning on fucking these chickens, are you?
Picture it. Sicily, 1920.
Aren't we fucking funny?
Streaming from the Midwest, right in the middle of the U.S., from Omaha, Nebraska, you're listening to the Boundless PodTrap, your entertainment podcast where we touch on all topics, from the crazy and absurd to the sacred and profane, and even the useless and unnecessary. The Boundless PodTrap knows no bounds. And now, here are your hosts, Justin, Lonnie, and Jeremy.
Oh my goodness, fellas. Here we are, episode 001 of the Boundless PodTrap. It is happening right now. And I am one of your hosts, Jeremy. And I also have with me tonight, Justin and Lonnie. Guys, how are you?
What's happening?
Fantastic.
I'm all right. I'm a little tired.
Is this already starting, Lonnie?
All right.
The moaning. You say you're tired?
Yeah.
Why are you tired?
I need to take a nappy nap. The sun has drained me, and I need to be refilled.
It's like you deliver mail or something.
Or something. I actually make it look like that sometimes.
Isn't it like the 11th
I can't
week of May?
It's like the 11th week of March, it feels like. I don't know where the last part of winter went and the first part of all of spring basically was just feels weird.
I actually said that the other day. I'm like, Jesus, this is the hottest spring on record.
It is. I mean, the last couple days are the brutal reminder of why I do not like summer. Too much hot, humid weather.
So I really don't mind it as long as I don't have to be forced into it. It's like I rather sweat than freeze. That's usually what I have to tell all of my peoples.
That's what I say about that candy van, too. I go into it on my own choice. I hate being forced into it.
And there's never any candy in it.
I know.
You just got to dig around.
No.
Like some of the stuff that you find in there, it's like once you wake up, like your ass hurts so bad.
It's like Halls wrappers and stuff like that. It's weird.
Nah, anything can be candy if you try hard enough.
Oh, that is true. That could be a segment on this. So, yeah, I mean, aside from being tired, Justin, what else is going on with you?
I've been staying pretty busy work-wise, yes. I've also been picking up another project. It's going to be like a Roman army type of thing. So we've been doing a little bit of boot camp type of thing. I
would have immediately quit if it's like, oh, the part requires going to boot camp. Suck it.
Right.
This guy doesn't work out.
I don't.
No, I'm talking about
I
this
don't.
guy, me, as you can tell from my gut. Well, no, that's cool. So you're going to be playing like a Roman soldier?
One of the second in command type of thing. It's still early. We're trying to spend June, July, possibly film early August or September. So get enough time to whip some people into shape because a lot of us might need it.
Yeah, you say that though, but I mean, you're in, out of all three of us, you're in like exquisite shape.
That's
Right.
just trick photography.
Like your forehead has abs. Like it's not even fair.
I'm sorry.
They're flexing right now.
I don't even think it's on purpose. I think it's just a masculine flex he does around us.
I mean, this might be a little bit off topic, but I've always said that Justin reminds me of like a real life Buzz Lightyear. Like, doesn't he kind of look like him in the face and
Right.
the eyes?
That's not the first time I got that.
But yeah, I've always thought that. Well, that's cool though that you're going to be doing that. Lonnie, how about you? It's your wife went back to work, correct? So
She
it's
did,
you and
she
the
did.
baby.
Me and the baby, yeah. And it was a fun weekend, supporting my brothers and sisters in arms out there.
Yeah.
Making sure they're all staying safe and healthy. And when I say brothers in arms, I mean the ones peacefully protesting and being safe. And
Right.
when I was out there, I seen Paco running down the road. and he had a plate of eggs.
I haven't seen Paco
yeah,
in forever.
and I didn't either. And I seen him running down the road with a plate of eggs, and I was like, and I didn't know what he was doing. And all of a sudden, I seen pepper spray going, and I caught him later, and I was like, Paco, what were you doing? He's like, that's the only way I like my eggs is with pepper spray. It's the only way I can get them hot enough.
It's crazy how obsessive he is with his eggs.
Right?
Like if
Just
they are
so
not the way
picky.
that he wants it. Like I've had breakfast with him several times, and yeah, like if
He's-
Paco not happy when his eggs not.
He's
not
peculiar. Yeah.
He is. Yeah, that's what's weird that he is protesting.
Yeah, I don't think he was. I think it's just how he likes his eggs.
Oh,
He's passing by. That's
He,
it.
I think he actually got everyone to hug at one time, though.
I mean, he is a hugger.
Like everyone around the nation, not just here, like everywhere.
Well, I
He
remember.
just said, everybody hug. And then I was like, okay, we better do this.
I remember when he went to Brazil, like his social media page was just flooded with pictures of him hugging people. He's definitely a hugger.
Good for him.
Paco might stand for hugger. Or,
Hug Paco.
He's hugged everybody. Never got COVID yet. Don't understand.
yeah. So yeah, I mean that's kind of like this world right now is. If just when you thought 2020 couldn't get any weirder or more bizarre, here we are. Like,
I think that's kind of been adding on to my tiredness too. I've been feeling pretty drained, I guess, going back and forth with people online, which you shouldn't never do. But normally I don't get myself wrapped up into too much like that. I mean, my sensitivities.
it's hard. It's hard though.
It's
A
like,
lot
dang.
of people will drag you into it.
Like you're saying what you're saying you're against, though. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Like I don't say much on social media anymore, which is one of our main topic tonight is is technology and social media the downfall of this world, which we'll get into that later. But yeah, I just try not to because those that do not agree with you are gonna jump down your throat and they're gonna do everything they can to pull you into an argument and. That's a whole topic. Like that was going to be our topic tonight. One of the things, but we decided, we don't want to get too much into the hate, even though our main topic is going to be talking about,
The vitriol of what is.
yeah.
social-
But it's just like, I think people are already sick and tired of hearing about the protest and rioting and looting and all that stuff. And it's just a crazy world. And I just wish everybody be safe. That's that. First and foremost, like, there's violence out there, but I don't think violence should be solved by more violence. And that just seems to be what is kind of happening out there.
On a happier note with social media. So lots of you guys, listeners, you've been sent new requests as far as like our group page. And within like 6 hours, we got like over 100 likes, and I want to appreciate you guys, with all those coming all over my Facebook with the notifications.
Do you need a towel?
It's the reason his head is so shiny.
Yeah, well,
That's
I would not make it.
coconut
It would
oil.
make it matte, not shiny.
Well, no, he uses it to
Yeah.
glisten. He rubs it in, and
Well, it depends on the time frame too.
that's how he gets it so sheen.
After
That's crazy though. Like as of tonight, what were we at? 309 likes.
309, and we haven't even done anything
I know.
yet. So
And that's great. We appreciate that. And I know in the grand scheme of things, 309 likes on a social media page is not much, but for the fact that we really haven't done much, that's great. That's fantastic.
for a couple of nobodies,
now speak for yourself.
You two,
like, we're liking you guys so you guys can actually do some
I'm
stuff.
somebody.
Wait until we disappoint you.
Yeah, well, we already
What I
probably
said
lost.
to every woman
Yeah.
I've ever been in bed with. Wait until I disappoint
So
you.
I like to build your hopes up just so I can tear it down. You know,
Right.
Oh man, you guys, I'm done with this podcast.
See you.
Well, this was a fun 10 minutes.
So yeah,
Said that a lot in bed too.
We've got some fun topics tonight. We're gonna, with this being our inaugural episode, we're actually going to
How do you know it's fun?
well, I know
don't even
I
know
know
our
I know my
topics.
topic is fun. Knowing Lonnie is going to be ridiculous, and Jess, I don't even know. Like I've tried to think.
Whoa.
So let me fill you listeners in, or listener, if we might have just one listener at this point.
I won't listen.
So the layout of this inaugural episode, it's going to be, usually we're going to try to have like between like an hour and a half, 2 hour long format. This one might be a little bit longer. We don't know. We're going to see how it goes. So we thought we would do something fun where we're going to have the first part of it be 3 different topics. The first topic is going to be a topic that Lonnie picked that Justin and I have no idea about. He's going to try to convince us or have us give our opinions on. Second topic will be one I picked out that neither of them know about. And the third is Justin's that neither Lonnie and I know about. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. And then, of course, our main topic is is social media and technology the downfall of this world. Now, you guys seem a little, I don't know, because we have a little group chat going to keep communication going. And I don't know, you guys seem a little bit nervous about your topics tonight.
I'm not nervous at all.
I mean, yeah,
I tossed the dice and picked something out of the hat. I was like, we're rolling with it.
We have we have a side bet going on what we think. We've got a 1 out of 2 idea of what you're gonna discuss.
Can you lay it out?
No,
Oh.
we're gonna throw our hands up in the air.
I've convinced myself that the idea that I thought his was going to be is probably not it. Because it's just I don't know how you would really talk about that.
I got an idea that mine is still gonna be true. And when you say it, my arms are gonna shoot up in the air in victory.
I feel like I might have to let you guys down because I didn't even know I was going to do this topic either. But
Just to see if I know.
I want to see if you. Yeah, let's see.
I'll write it
just-
down
just
before you do it.
Right now, if any of us have the same topic, we're done with this podcast. That's just a little weird.
We all 3 picked model trains.
we did.
You can have something this far-fetched, I guess, with everybody thinking alike. So just shut it down. Shut it down out of the gates. You put that dog down.
No. Or are you going to cremate it? Oh,
Beef jerky farts.
I'm eating beef jerky.
And it is disgusting.
It's okay. So I have teriyaki beef jerky. That's like my favorite beef jerky. When you first open up teriyaki beef jerky, it smells like how Lonnie says, like baby diarrhea.
It smells like an infant's shit, and I've become I've became what's the fucking word? I can't even think. It smells like baby shit. Like
It does, and I'll give you that. But it's just like when you eat it. I mean, like I said, I've never tasted baby shit.
it
So
makes
I
I know
don't
this
what you're
know.
sound.
talking about.
But I did say if baby shit tastes like teriyaki beef jerky, I would eat baby shit.
It instantly, the smell puts a sound in my head, and it sounds like this.
You just got your
I think it's
Open diaper with your-
smells.
finger in there.
Intimately familiar with that smell.
You
That's
guys
called
have
ickies. Man.
experience with it, and I'll tell you this, Justin. There were several times like when we were like editing Unemployed at your house, and you would change your daughter Zora's
You're like,
diaper. I was like, okay, we need to move this editing session outside. Like, it was bad, but I was like, I didn't want to make your daughter feel bad. She
Yeah,
already
totally.
thought I was weird as it was, but I haven't been here yet for a Moxley poop.
His blowouts are nice.
They go up his back, like almost to his shoulders.
God, I'm so glad I don't have kids.
Dude,
It makes a sound effect, like the wheels rolling.
I
out.
changed his diaper the other day. We walked back and just kind of a layout on my house, and like we walked by the bathroom, past the studio, past the bedroom, into his room, changed his diaper, and he just peed.
It's a 2-man.
No, just me and him. We manned it out, changed his diaper. We walked by the bedroom, walked by the studio, got to about the bathroom, and he had the loudest shit I'd ever heard in my life. And he's 2 months old.
That's the worst.
And it was just a roop. And I looked down at him, and he's never actually laughed yet. He's not at that age. And he looked up at me, and I swear the little motherfucker went,
It's like, I just changed.
and he
you.
was in my hands, and I felt it run through my hands. And I was about like, your mom gets home in 2 hours. I'm going to make you stay in it. But
No.
Little Moxie went flying across.
No.
I was like, today you learn what basketball
We
is.
do not condone child abuse here at the Boundless PodTrap. Well, here's the thing, though. When you get older and elderly,
Oh, I'm going to shit
he
so much.
has to take care
Oh,
of you
man.
and change your diapers.
We already have this in a
supposedly.
contract.
Even if things don't go right with him when you get to be a certain age, he's legally obligated to come and change your shit.
I don't even care if I get old. When he turns 10, I'm just going to start shitting myself then. I'm completely capable. I'm like, I did it. Come get it.
It's good to have a hobby.
Yeah, it is. Man. All right. So on that note, how about we get into Lonnie's topic here? Now, for those listening again, this is a topic that Lonnie knows he picked, and Justin and I know nothing about it. We've slotted these to be about 20 minutes each. It could go longer. It could go shorter. I know that was kind of one of our things. It's like we don't know if we're going to be able to stretch this to 20 minutes, but we'll see how it goes. So without any further ado, Lonnie, let's get your topic going here. Let's see what it is. I'm nervous.
Got my handy dandy notes here.
And
All
it's
right.
in red ink,
It's
too, or
red.
pink.
It's red, purple, pink. I don't know. I'm colorblind. I just grabbed pens. All right. Also, with my topic, I also have a fun little game we can play. But my topic is on Ed and Lorraine Warren. I took 3 of their most infamous cases, and we're going to determine if Ed and Lorraine Warren are frauds or not.
All right.
I'm going to take their evidence and the family's evidence opposed to the evidence collected post-case and by other people, and you two will have to determine.
So we're the jury.
You're the jury to determine if Ed and Lorraine Warren
Guilty.
are frauds or not.
Guilty.
But as well, I am going to take popular songs, and you have to see if you know what the cases are before I tell you what case it is.
What?
Yeah.
Huh.
Twist,
This-
motherfuckers.
Wait, that ties in with the Ed and Lorraine?
Yes, it does.
Huh.
All right. Little fact on Ed and Lorraine Warren before we get started. Edward Warren, paranormal investigator, demonologist, author, and painter, passed away in August of 2006. Lorraine Warren, paranormal investigator, light trance medium, don't know what that means, clairvoyant, and author.
Page 1 gone.
You dropped something.
First case. Sister Margaret, oh, your time has come. Don't you know you are the only one, I say.
That's a song.
It is a song, yeah.
All right.
I don't know what song.
So we got it. Okay, cool. Move on.
What case am I talking about? That's right. That's the Enfield haunting in Enfield, London, England. Happened in 1977 and 78.
That's the new Ripper. What's his name?
George Lucas.
Close.
No, you're totally wrong. Happened in Bridgetown, Enfield, in London. Like I said, single mother Peggy Hodgson called the police because her 2 daughters, 2 of her 4 children, started hearing knocks and started seeing things move and were getting picked up and thrown around. They called the police. 2 police officers there seen a chair be lifted up a half an inch and slide across the room. Now, these were actual police officers. They called in the psychic, investigators who heard 10 different voices emanate from the youngest daughter. What was her name here? Janet, age 11. Heard 10 different voices on tape emanate from this girl. 13-year-old Margaret was the other daughter, would levitate from her bed and be thrown against the wall. Legos would fly around the room. They have video proof of this.
It's a cool trick.
Right? Janet would hear knocking throughout the family. When the police came, like I said, they seen the chair floating. For the next 18 months that this was going on, 30 different investigators, police officers, neighbors seen incidents happen, heard things happen. Ed Lorraine Warren came. That's where they fit in. And they seen these things happen. This is what The Conjuring 2 was based on, was that case. And they deemed the house haunted by a demonic presence. Now I present to you the proof that it was faked. The Warrens actually came in much later, in 1978, when it was almost done. And they actually weren't allowed in the property. The other investigators who were investigating it did not let them in the property. They're like, you guys are frauds from America. You're just trying to make money. Get out of here. But when you watch The Conjuring, they were there the whole time. They tried to save the family. What do you believe? Point number 2, all the photos of the girls levitating just happened to be them levitating down, never levitating up. Almost like they were jumping and falling.
So like their hair was like
Going forward.
Yeah,
floating up in
was
the
floating
airs.
up and never down. Yeah, like they always descending down.
Does the body mechanics match up to what would be of a falling?
Yeah, they were always at their peak. Never
Guilty.
Their objects where they would see levitating and getting to a place. When they would get the picture, would always be stopped. They would have a picture of where it started and where it ended, but never in the process of moving. And the biggest damning piece of evidence, the girls later admitted they lied.
Well, that right there just tells you.
But how do you fake it with all those other people? Like how do you lie to the cops? How do the cops go in? How does an 11-year-old and a 13-year-old go into a situation and convince grown adults that they've seen a chair move?
Magnets.
How do those work?
What year was this?
1977 to 1978.
I think back then could have been more. I don't know. I mean, back then that could have been easier to convince somebody that something was haunted or whatnot, because back then you didn't have movies and like with special effects that show you like how they make things. Like in Poltergeist, how they have the chairs slide across the ground. They show you how they do that. Back then you really didn't know how things like that were done. So maybe they were true innovators of their time by rigging their house or whatever it is to look like it was haunted and whatnot. But I don't know.
How long was this? How long was this going on before they finally admitted to it?
So the haunting lasted all of 18 months. They admitted this much, much later, 20 years later.
Interesting one.
Next case. Next audio song to see if you know what the case is. We've got a rapist here in Southton, Connecticut.
This is a Taylor Swift song, correct?
This is. He's climbing in your windows. He's snatching your people up. So y'all better hide your cousins, hide your wives, hide your husbands, because they're raping everybody out here.
The rated R superstar Edge.
Close. What's that case, fellas? That's right. It's a haunting in Connecticut. Better known as the Snedeker family.
That's what I was going to say. You didn't give me time to answer.
Because you take for fucking ever.
Voice kind of comes up.
That's right. 1986, the Snedeker family. Mother Cameron, Father Al, cousins, daughters, sons, moved into an old, I can't even read my writing. I don't even know why I took notes. They moved into an old funeral home in Southerton, Connecticut, because it was cheap. They could afford such a big place where they could all move into. But when they moved into it, they noticed a bunch of stuff happening. They could hear people talking. The kids seen people moving around. The two boys, they lived in the basement, which was the morgue, was originally the morgue. With oldest boy, the reason they moved there is because it was close to the hospital. The oldest boy had Hodgkin's lymphoma, so they moved there close so he could get his hospital treatments. But they started seeing things, started hearing things. One night, the oldest boy had, easiest way to tell was a psychotic break. They called it schizophrenia. He was diagnosed with schizophrenia, but he attempted to rape the cousin. But he was he was caught, stopped. The family had him arrested. And during that time, he was getting really disinterested in life, started writing lots of emotional poetry, and a lot of poetry about necrophilia. That all kind of led to this incident. So he was arrested, placed in a, not mental institution, but a hospital. While he was gone, the mother, the cousin, and the father, Al, all got raped and sodomized while there, which is not a good place to be.
Not so much.
I mean, unless you're into that kind of thing.
Do not like that at all.
Back to the free candy band thing. Find candy in anything if you want to.
No comment.
But keep looking here in my notes, see if there's anything else important. The Warrens came in along with John Zaffron and some other techs. And they stayed in the house for 9 weeks.
Jeez.
Yeah. And they were able to see all the claims that were given to them, including the sodomization and the rape done to the family. They were able to witness it. They were able to stop it, but they were able to see the beginning signs of it. The Warrens called in a priest, and they performed an exorcism on the house. The family later moved due to the stress. Now here's the proof against all that, unfortunately. When they were in the process of writing the novel about the house, the person who was writing it with the family and the Warrens came up to Ed Warren and basically asked him what they should put in because their stories aren't collaborating. And Ed Warren said, well, these people are crazy. People who come to us seldomly aren't crazy, so just take what they've said and put other stuff in it to make it sound good. So, the new residents of the house have experienced nothing of the sort, which either means the exorcism worked or it was all a hoax the whole time. And the thing about this family was they were all struggling with alcoholism and drug addiction and money problems from the kid with his Hodgkin's lymphoma. So they were always struggling with money. Was this an attempt to sell the book, make some money? Who knows?
That's it.
Do you think that was a scheme to make money off the book?
I mean, so 9 weeks it's a long time, but it's a short amount of time to try to convince some people. So I believe that could be done, especially when everybody is in on the same, just fit the part type of thing. So, yeah. This wasn't the movie where the older brother was like all scarred up and...
Yeah, The Haunting in Connecticut. Yeah, that was where he was in the basement.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes. That was a good movie.
Creepy one. I had to put that one in the freezer. I was afraid.
That part in that movie where he's turns the TV off and in the reflection you see a guy just step across the screen. I'm like, oh God, that got me.
I had a incident like that almost happen. Well, I guess not like that. So yesterday we had a power outage at work. So I'm in the bathroom washing my hands and then the lights are flickering. I'm like, great. Don't fucking, show up behind me when the lights come off and on again. So the lights went out and I'm like looking in the mirror. Well, in the dark, nothing happened. Well, the lights never came back on. So I just went out and walked up to the front desk and so that doesn't remind me exactly like that. Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
I would have thought your first thought would have been like, fuck, I hope I don't die in the bathroom.
No one wants to die with their pants down.
Yeah, I'm going to have my pants pulled down by a spirit and get pounded from behind. All right, so you have another case?
I do. I got one more.
One more case. All
One
right.
more.
This is interesting.
One more song intro. There's a place off Ocean Avenue
I hate that
where
song.
I used to sit and talk with you.
I love that song.
We were both 18 and it felt so right. Sleeping all day, murdering our fucking family at night.
That's how the lyrics go.
That's right. We are talking about 112 Ocean Avenue in Amity, Long Island. No, nothing.
Amityville.
Yeah, there you go, buddy.
Oh yeah, I just thought that was pretty
I
obvious.
thought
That's
there was
why I
more
didn't
with
say.
it. I mean, like you
That's
just
why-
gave it away.
because you like
so-
looked at me like very mysteriously.
I'm
I
just
was
like,
like,
I wanted you guys to get
Is that-
fucking one of them.
is that really what Ocean Avenue is about?
I
That
don't
song?
know. No, probably
okay.
not.
I was like, what? That's interesting in its own.
Isn't that yellow card? or
Yellow
something?
Card.
That is Yellow Card, yeah. That was the only thing I could think of by wearing this one. So that's what started all the songs because I was fucking stuck in my head. Anyway, on November 13th, 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr. killed 6 members of his family, all shot, all in their beds, all face down on different floors of the house. So he was able to shoot the people on the ground floor in their beds, climb the stairs, shoot the other members of his family in their beds. 1 year later, the Lutz family in December 95 bought a 5-bedroom, 3-bath house in New York for $80,000. Seems like a pretty good deal.
Yeah, it does.
They stayed in that house for 28 days. If you don't know the rest of the story, you have lived under the rock because there is literally 18 Amityville horror movies.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. Yeah, there's 14 books too. 18 movies. One good one.
One of our friends directed an Amityville movie.
Watch your mouth.
Who was that?
Dustin Ferguson.
Nice.
Like one of the actual ones?
It was one that he didn't. One of our friends that we know. It's a actor producer. Mark Popejoy was in it. He played the lead.
I don't know.
Anyways, go ahead.
Nice.
Go ahead.
2 months after the Lutz family had moved out, a reporter named where's her fucking name? Laura Didio.
Now you're just making things.
Didio. Didio.
Or a Diddletero.
Diddlero. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Dijon.
Got a group of Ghostbusters, which aka the Warrens, to go investigate the house on 112 Ocean Avenue and to see if they could find any hauntings. Lorraine Warren said it was almost like her exact words were ghost slumber party going on when she first walked in.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, fucking cool to me. And it was the most horribly depressing house she has ever been in. Just the feeling there.
That says more about like the decorations and
Well, and that was the cool thing about it too. After the DeFeos had moved, obviously after the DeFeos had moved out, quote unquote, all their furniture was still there. So when the Lutz had moved in, all their furniture and stuff, most of it was still in the basement of the house. They weren't able to capture anything solid other than a single picture known as the Ghost Boy, which is still online. But yeah, Ronnie DeFeo murdered 6 people. Now, as the plot thickens,
dun dun dun.
dun dun dun, when the Lutz moved
Stop
in,
it, I'm scared.
when the Lutz family moved in, they met with the lawyer of Ronnie DeFeo, and after numerous bottles of wine, started hatching a plan of potential ways to get Ronnie DeFeo to get him out of jail, ways to make him look insane, because he pled not guilty in means of insanity. So they wanted to make a book about how the house was the reason why he did it, how he was possessed. This came from the Lutz and Ronnie DeFeo's lawyer. They had a contract written up. This was the start of the book, Amityville Horror. Once the contract was written up, they seen that, well, this can't happen because a good chunk of the money was going to go to Ronnie DeFeo. So they decided to step away from it. In an investigation of the house, the Lutzes said that it was built on an ancient Indian burial ground. Well, if you know anything about Long Island, it's a fucking island, and
Ain't
everything is underwater, so you really can't bury something in water.
That's not true.
Float away.
I mean, you can still bury it.
It's going to be a little bit harder.
Not very efficiently. The ghost photo has been debunked numerous times. Like, even though it was in the 70s, it's very easy to overlay photos. And so that's been debunked numerous times by numerous people. New tenants who have moved in say it's a very, very nice property. It did sell in 2016 again to a nice family for $850,000. So that's the thing. Their only child who will speak publicly is Chris, who said most of the occurrences that happened in the house that the Lutzes talk about are 100% fictitious. None of it ever happened. They just did it to try to make money. When they moved into the house, they were like, yeah, let's make a buck off this.
Now, do you think they or maybe it's come out or whatever, did they plan on having a movie happen because of this? Like, could that be the instigator behind everything? Why they did it? Is because they thought, hey, we could make a movie out of this.
I don't know if that was the plan, but there was numerous articles and numerous things saying that they planned on making some type of money from it.
Well, what better way to make money off of it than by a movie?
Right.
And look at what happened. That's 18 movies.
Right.
Isn't it?
The Lutzes made
None of that.
Yeah, the Lutzes from the original movie and the original book, the original movie and original book made $300,000 was all.
They were all dead.
Oh. That's it?
That was it.
Huh.
If that was the case, they did all that work for nothing, really.
Zero.
Back when?
74, 75.
Huh. So that might be like half that, or I guess double that, I should say.
Well, they only invested $80,000 for the price of the house. They were gone in 28 days, so they didn't even pay their first month's mortgage. They were out, got out of the house scot-free, so technically they didn't pay anything.
They're still within their 30-day. They can
30-day grace period,
yeah,
so
put it back on the market.
fuck this place.
Yeah.
They get their security deposit back?
It was the 70s. I don't think those existed.
So
maybe
what you're
that's
saying
why.
is, don't believe kids. Ed and Lorraine are pretty much the real frauds here.
That's for you guys to decide.
Put them back on trial, and
To me, everything sounded fishy. To me, it sounded like everything was made up and it was a quick way to get publicity and money.
So that was the other thing you have to take into account, though. Ed and Lorraine Warren never charged a dime for any of their services.
But here
it's all
we are
about
today talking
advertisement.
about them.
Right.
Where their name is now in history, etched in infamy. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Now, and the reason I bring them up and talk about them is
They're
they
going
were
to murder us.
they were idols of mine growing up. For every negative thing they did, they taught you so much about paranormal investigation, and there wasn't anybody. They were rock stars in the paranormal genre. But could you trust them? Well, no, but you learn twice as much about what you were doing. You just learn not to lie.
so they would, fuck with people for free just so they can get their name bigger.
Right, yeah.
So-
They'd go into someone's house and go, this house is definitely haunted. We should write a book about it.
Here's my card.
It's not a bad idea.
Let's do
I think this podcasting we're going about this the wrong way, fellas.
This is the last episode.
Everybody that's listening to us right now, we believe your house is haunted.
Like our Facebook.
Please.
Don't fucking do
House
this.
hunters.
That was very interesting, Lonnie. That's not at all. I figured your topic was going to be something along the lines of like paranormal, but yeah, that was very
It's
interesting.
actually, see, I wrote that down too. Hold on, let me finish this text message. See, that's what I had.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, that was, let's, for those of you that are listening, just so we can start to get this communication going with you, What are your thoughts on these 3 cases that Lonnie just read? Do you think that they are real? Do you think they're fake? Do you think there are ways to make money, get fame? Comment.
Are you familiar with the movies, the books, etc.?
Yeah.
Every time I see the Ed Lorraine dude, I just can't help but think of Phantom of the Opera.
He was a dick.
Yeah.
Like, if you watch interviews with him, he was an asshole. And here's a little, just a going back in time to show my love for my paranormal. This was a pilot we made growing up.
This is you?
Yeah, for our TV show we had for the IPBS.
This looks like the start of like a Discovery Channel show. Like, holy crap, that doesn't even look like you.
Well, I was about 100 pounds lighter at the time.
Looks like David Draymond.
Leah, what was her last name?
I don't know.
Hoffmeister or something?
That guy, he works for Slipknot now.
Really?
Yeah.
He looks like he could be a member of Slipknot. Interesting. We're watching a Mid-Iowa Paranormal opening segment to a show. We might have to link that.
Yeah, well, I'll post it on the site. So
Interesting.
my love for the paranormal.
Paranormal is
Videos
fun.
are great for audio podcasts.
I'll put it in a link. All right.
I used to, my friends and I, we used to do paranormal ghost hunting at like cemeteries back, like it's like right out of high school, and I mean that was fun time. Like I have stories that's for another time, but you know we've encountered some things. I have some EVPs that we caught and things that we can't really debunk, but yeah, those were some good times, and I look back on it and I'm just like, man, not that I wouldn't have the balls to do it. Like, I'm not scared of like paranormal type things, but it's like I'm scared of like places that we would go into that were probably guarded by somebody with like a shotgun. And it's just like, nah. And with things going on like vandalism and stuff like that.
That should be a topic that we discuss, like especially if you're here for the Nebraska and Iowans, like the Black Angel Cemetery thing.
That thing was so
That's my
overrated.
Facebook picture is
Black Angel, I think.
Me shaking your hand.
It was so overrated. Like the first time I went there, I was disappointed. I'll make this quick because this is a great topic for another time. I was disappointed to think like, here, I thought this whole time the Black Angel was like in the middle of this cemetery in like a dark field somewhere. And it's like, no, you stand in the Dark Angel and you look like 100 feet in front of you is a bunch of houses that people live in. I'm like, oh, well, that kind of takes away from it.
Ruins the epicness.
It does.
Anyone who goes up to the Black Angel, I'm going to tell you, if you hold the Black Angel's hand or touch her hand in any way, shape, or form, I want you to look at where her hand placement is. And I want you to know I put my balls in her hand, so you have touched my balls.
What if I use my tongue?
You have licked my balls.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm kind of a little, like, I don't know that my topic's going to stretch out that long. Like, I thought it was good, but we'll see how it goes.
You can't back out now.
No, I'm not going
you can't
to.
back out.
But before we get to my topic, let's take a little time here to plug one of our sponsors.
Hey.
One of our sponsors is ML Image Photography. That's run by our good friend Michael here. ML Image has been around specializing in glamour art photography since 2005, 15 years now. He specializes in glamour, boudoir, pinup, ink model, fine art, nude, glamour nude, cosplay, dark beauty, and horror. If you're interested to see some of his work, which is amazing stuff, you can become a member of his Patreon. Is that what they're called? The Patreon people?
Yeah, I think so.
Of his Patreon,
Fans.
which is
Patreon.
ML Image. And you can go to mlimage.com to check out some of his stuff there. Some of it's not safe for work. So keep that in mind if you're listening to us and you decide to put us on pause and go look at his stuff, that you may want to not do that, because if your boss sees what you're looking at, you might get in trouble. But big shout out to ML Image Photography, who is... it's ML Image, where image is everything. Oh, that was good. That was good.
I'm just glad you let it go for.
I'll give you that. All right, so now we're on to my topic.
What do you got, Jeremy?
Now,
Jeremy.
before I get into my topic, I'm going to ask you guys both a couple of questions here. Are you guys familiar with Mary Poppins?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the It movies?
Of course, the good ones.
Are you familiar with the It movies?
The original, the original, and just the clips that you see from the new ones. So, my topic is, are Mary Poppins and Pennywise the same species? Now, before we get into that, before you guys answer, I'm going to read some things some notes that I took. And this is, keep in mind, this is with both the original movies and then also the remakes of them or sequels or whatever too.
The better ones.
They're all, shut up. They're all included in this. So, I'm going to start off by reading you some things here, and then I'm going to pose another question at the end of this too, and then we will get into discussion. So again, are Mary Poppins and Pennywise the same species?
I'm done.
So, the obvious thing is both use things in children's minds for either good or evil. Poppins taps into their imaginations for good, whereas Pennywise manipulates these children's fears for evil and his pleasure. Both lured a young boy named Georgie. Now, that's yeah, exactly. So they both lured a kid named Georgie away from their siblings in a storm by using their paper toys. Now, Georgie from the It movies was lured with his paper boat, whereas Georgie from Mary Poppins was lured with his paper kite by Mary Poppins. So there's that. Now, Poppins returns to 17 Cherry Tree Lane after 25 years of being gone, and Pennywise returns to Derry after 27 years. Now, Poppins is able to maintain energy for 25 years despite interacting with fewer children, whereas Pennywise requires 27 years, even though he interacts with more children. Some say this is due to the Monsters, Inc. theory, that joy and laughter from kids creates more energy than fear from kids. Both cause the children they interacted with to ultimately forget or misremember their interactions from their childhood. The Banks children from Mary Poppins remember her as just a nanny, and the Losers Club from the It movies basically pretty much forgot their childhood almost completely. Both characters use song and dance to captivate their children. Pennywise calls himself Pennywise the Dancing Clown and uses dance moves to terrify the children, whereas Poppin uses song and dance and Technicolor and dreamlike musicals to enchant the children to get them to be more creative. Both have reflections that can animate and operate separately from themselves. Pennywise has what's called the deadlights, which when looked into at Pennywise into these lights will render his subject frozen. Or Poppins creates an entire fleet of what are called lamp lights, and she uses it in the song that's called Trip a Little Light Fantastic, which are proven to be a creation when the character Michael looks out the window and sees only Mary and the children and nothing else. Now here's another one. Balloons are big with both of them. Obviously, we know that the red balloon with Pennywise, but if you notice at the end of the Mary Poppins video or movie, when they all float away with their balloons, Mary Poppins, can you guess what color balloon she chooses? Red. Can we say that all together? Red.
Gray.
Now, both instances of Mary Poppin and Pennywise, there's parts where they float down from the sky, almost as if they're flying. And then the last thing that I will say, and I mean, there is a video, and I think that'll be another link too that we post that has some other things here. But with all of what I just said too, there are some that think that Pennywise and Mary Poppins are the same person. It is believed that Pennywise is actually the origin story of Mary Poppins, whereas Pennywise realized that Monsters, Inc. theory, whereas the fear that he's trying to get all this energy from the kids isn't working as well as the laughter and joy from kids, so he turns into Mary Poppins and decides to start doing joyous things to get the joy and laughter out of kids to give Mary Poppins and Pennywise more.
And that would sustain him for longer.
Yes. So with all that being said, gentlemen, what is your take on this?
Well, he would have to change his whole character just to survive, but he seems like he really Pennywise really enjoys the art of killing the kids. There was something else that you said as far as the similarities between the two that come back to me. Lonnie, go.
Does Mary Poppins ever change her form? And I've never seen the Mary Poppins movies. I know absolutely nothing about Mary Poppins.
I have not seen the newer Mary Poppins, just clips here and there while I was doing this research. And I mean, the original Mary Poppins I saw a long time ago. She never changes her look or any appearance or anything like that.
So she's always just Mary Poppins. Okay.
She does some weird things though. Like I said, she floats down with an umbrella. She like pretty much floats and flies with her umbrella.
Shoot that thing out of the sky.
That's not impossible. Like,
but
if you're light enough, you can float with an umbrella.
But she also, like, she does weird things. Like, there's one scene where she's with the children, the Banks children, and she sets a, I don't want to say a purse, but like a carrying bag that looks small on a table. And then she just starts pulling out all these big, huge things that would not fit inside this thing. And the kid's like, oh my God. So it's like she's very theatrical.
You can do that with simple wizardry, like Harry Potter style. Like
I haven't seen Harry Potter. Don't talk nerd. Sorry, Lonnie.
I said whatever.
Kindly got us both.
So did your thought come back to you?
You made a point about how the kids I'm familiar with Mary Poppins, but I could use a refresher as far as I don't really remember how it ended. I mean, like, she goes off with the kids, but
With a spoonful of sugar.
Does the kids come back? Is that her treat?
So in the new Mary Poppins, the kids that she goes to are the Banks kids, but they are adults now and have their own kids. So she's the nanny for their kids, but it takes a little bit of convincing of who she is, but she basically convinces them that she was their nanny, but they've totally forgotten like all the magic and stuff that she did to like make them fly and whatnot.
Okay. That makes a little bit more sense too, because Mary Poppins is the one who leaves in Mary Poppins, and Pennywise stays. It's the kids who leave, or at least most of the kids who leave. So the further they are away from the creature, if you want, we're going to call Mary Poppins the creature.
Yeah.
So yeah, they lose their memory. So yeah, that kind of coincides. Yeah.
I think there's more merit in that Pennywise is the origin story of Mary Poppins.
So here's my debate with that. Why would the turtle, who's been having this infinite battle before the world has been created, give up that battle all of a sudden because Pennywise decided, oh, I'm going to be good now?
Because it's more of a selfish thing of, all this fear and stuff, all the work and killing and stuff like that. It's giving him some energy, but it's not giving him enough energy. Like, realizing that, this laughter and joy is going to make me stronger and make me last longer. So, to me, you would do whatever it takes to get you the most energy and to make you want to stay around longer and not disappear for another 27 years.
So Ted Bundy, all of a sudden.
I never watched Married with Children.
No. Close. Different Bundy.
Oh, okay.
The bad Ted Bundy.
All right.
Okay, we'll go with somebody else. Jason Voorhees.
Okay.
All of a sudden, he puts down the machete, takes off the mask, goes, I want to be an ice cream truck driver now.
Didn't he at one point?
Yeah, Jason 11.
Jason did turn his ways around. He is known as Lady Gaga now these days.
That's true. Yeah, go fuck yourself. But seriously, do you think the ultimate evil in the world is going to be allowed to be the light bringer to children?
See, he came off as a clown, to entice these kids, and they were kind of laughing at first, like, oh, like that did nothing for him. Survival wise, I guess.
I see your point there. Yeah. But I think regardless, Mary Poppins is good, blah, blah, blah. This is what I think. I think that Mary Poppins is still very much evil and has a master plan. And even if you watch like clips, you don't even have to watch the whole movie. If you watch, especially in the new Mary Poppins, she has a very calm demeanor about herself, almost as if when she's looking at the children, she's smiling on the outside, but in her eyes, you can see like exactly that picture that you have up right there is like it's working. And I think that she comes off as this joyous person, but I think deep down she's manipulating the people and the children still to get more power. And once she has all that power, I think Pennywise is going to be released once again, and it's going to be a little too late type of thing.
Right.
So the picture that we have up on the screen is a picture of the new Mary Poppins looking at herself in the mirror. What I see is, there could probably be a hint of restraint right there. Otherwise, she could be like eye fucking herself, as most people do at the gym. Just get your last set in and move on. So Pennywise, like his need to feed on kids, but he can change his size and stuff like that. Like what satiates him? Like how much? Because if he can just get one kid and shrink all the way down, I mean that should last him a while, right?
I don't know. I mean, for more than 4 hours, you might want to call a doctor. I don't know. This is a dick joke.
What are you talking about?
That was the worst dick joke.
Just put the kid in a to-go box and let's go.
I
Like,
don't know.
what if he eats like 2 really big fat kids? Will that?
Yeah, you're good. Everybody made fun of the fat kids anyway, so
Aren't they usually the first to go?
Depending on who the violator is.
Okay. I thought you were going to say something completely different there, and I was going to be like, watch it. Yeah, so Lonnie, you don't seem convinced that this is... This is, and I'm just letting you know, this is not something that I came up with. This is something that I stumbled across, and I'm like, that's pretty, like, deep down you know it's not... Mary Poppins and Pennywise have nothing to do with each other. They're completely different. It's just, it was somebody bored at home that was just like, hey, wait a minute. But they do bring up some interesting facts. And I don't know that my notes did justice as the video that one of the few videos that I watched of it did. But I don't know. You just seem, Lonnie, like...
I just don't see how you got to understand that the battle that the turtle and Pennywise has been battling, like that battle has been going on before the earth and the universe has existed. That just to be able to stop it and just go, oh, I'm good. Like, I don't have that urge anymore. That can't happen.
And I don't think that's the case. Like I said, I think that Pennywise is a very smart individual, and I think he looks at the big picture, and I think that this is something that he's been planning and figuring out for a long time.
I can't fully commit to them being the same character, but possibly of the same species, yes. Yeah. And if not necessarily that you need to kill them, but you can still take a piece of their innocence since the parents don't remember anything. So when she rides off with him into her own little lair or whatever, she can execute that and then bring him back safe.
I would like to know where Mary Poppins and Pennywise, if they are in fact the same species, when they do disappear, where do they go?
What do they look like?
What are they doing? Is it like a big break room or something like that? And like Pennywise is
your shift,
eating some donuts, drinking some coffee, and she comes in, she's like, oh, what a day.
Fucking kids on Elm.
You noticed you didn't clean out the microwave.
Bitch. You're the one that doesn't put a paper towel over your ravioli.
Fucking Corona. You can't touch these kids anymore.
Now, I will say this new Mary Poppins,
Emily Blunt?
she seems a little bit more bitchier than the original Mary Poppins. Like, and I don't know if the video that was the clips that they put together were put that way to have her come off as if she's kind of like a creepy, eerie type of person that has some evil intentions or whatever. But I'm very intrigued. I'm probably going to watch this new Mary Poppins movie and just kind of get a vibe from it. But
To better compare it, you should also watch.
The new
that one I can already tell you can suck a dick.
It's so good.
He's missing out.
I'm not.
Think about it this way.
They would have called it something else besides it.
Think about it this way. How can you hate on it when you've never seen it? Like I've
seen enough.
I've watched so many movies I've hated just because I couldn't say I hate it until I watched it.
I've seen enough from clips and trailers of these new It movies to know that I don't want to see it because Pennywise is one of those characters that was made by the person that played them. Tim Curry is Pennywise.
But Tim Curry endorsed the other.
Tim Curry is not in the right state of mind. He's been through some health problems. I don't think he even cares. He's probably.
So Tim Curry doesn't matter anymore?
Jesus.
I did not say that. I did not say that. Tim
Roll the
Curry,
tape. Roll the tape.
I think the new look of Pennywise looks completely stupid. His outfit is stupid. There's too much CGI with it too. I've seen enough clips to know that CGI, like there, I understand that CGI is the thing now, but there's a good way of doing it and a bad way of doing it, and there's too much CGI and there's just the right amount of CGI. And just from the trailer alone that I've watched of both it and Chapter 2, too much CGI.
I think if anything, watch it just for the humor because it is hilarious.
You guys are, so many people are obsessed with me watching these It movies.
Did you ever?
That makes me not
This
want to
is
watch it even
unnatural.
more because
Did you ever?
people are getting pissed.
Did
that I
you
haven't
read
seen
the
it.
book? Did you ever read the It book?
Oh, a long time. Like in grade school, I read it.
It's so true to the novel in places. It's ridiculous.
But I
Like
didn't
I
like the
love the
novel.
book. The book is in my top 3 favorite books of all
I
time.
mean, the kids didn't have their way with the other chick.
Like
of
there
the
was
group, so.
there was no little kid orgy, so that might turn you off a little bit on it.
Yeah,
But
I know how you are with those.
I'm not going to be like, I don't
like,
think there's
no
anybody,
kid orgy. Fucking
I don't think there's a single person out there that's like, oh, no kid orgy. Fuck that.
Fuck
I ain't
this.
watching
This,
this.
is,
Apparently
this
they're-
movie shit.
Apparently they're
now.
from New York.
Oh, come on.
New York
Fuck.
was like
the
kid
fuck
orgy.
outta
Come
here.
on. Fucking G.
All right, we've lost all listeners in New York.
Let me check.
I don't. There was a point about a year ago that I gave the Star Wars movies a chance. I saw the original Star Wars episodes 4, 5, and 6 back when I was a kid.
I was about ready to hit you. And
and
you're like, I was saying the originals. Phantom Menace was fucking tight, yo.
I just didn't. I didn't care for them back then. Michael, our buddy Michael, the executive producer of this podcast, he when I was at his place one night, we put him on and we watched him again. I was like, these actually aren't bad. Like, I gave Star Wars a chance, and I was just like, you know what? I think I'm gonna. I think made a post about like I think I'm gonna give the new It movie a chance. I'm just gonna watch it, but I just couldn't. Morally, I couldn't do it. Like, I don't feel that it should have been done.
You got to find ways to ease your way into it. I mean, like maybe try
not watching.
watch certain clown. Go to Pornhub and see if there's like an It.
There is.
Oh, there is.
Trust me, I know. There's plenty of It
I haven't
Pennywise.
seen it.
Swing.
All right.
So all right.
That brings us to you, big fella.
Now we're swinging things over to Justin and his topic.
I got to get my energy levels up. I'm
Your energy. How are your energy levels down? No,
looking at the meter right here.
This this podcast is like kind of like your brainchild here, and this is the inaugural episode.
That's why
and
the
you're-
energy's down.
And you're just like, oh,
It's like 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night.
there's no curfew tonight.
Oh yeah. Let's
It's-
do this.
It's Iowa.
All right, let's do
Yes.
it. So let's get your topic going here.
Well, what I wanted to talk about is a certain something. I wanted to let you guys know that this topic's about how it feels good when you finally get your way, after all that struggle, just hold someone down. You feel that tip, you know. You know what I'm talking about. Have you boys ever been taken advantage of? Huh?
In what way?
Well, that's the topic. That's right. We're talking about pyramid schemes. So
we were both wrong with
way
that.
wrong.
yeah, the top of the pyramid. That's the tip. That's where you want to be. That's where you make your money. So pyramid schemes. Well, you guys look so disappointed.
No, I'm
Before I
intrigued
continue,
with where
what
you're
was
going.
it? What were you guys going for?
I thought it was going to be some kind of like your like karate,
Karate.
your dancing karate, whatever it's called.
Capoeira.
That is so crazy because I was going to say, I think I was very close to saying it's like kapawawi or something like that.
And I just said sexy dancing.
Sexy dancing. What do you guys think of me?
Well, my other one was your dildo making
That is a
because I've seen the kits
Fear-
in your home.
few and
You
far
think you have them hidden, but
hobby.
not that well. All right, so pyramids.
So I
Pyramid
never would have
schemes.
fucking guessed pyramid schemes.
So, or just schemes, pyramids and stuff. Yeah.
So what we're asking all of our viewers here to do is tell two of your friends about our podcast and then have them.
So yeah, no, pyramid schemes, schemes, whatever. They go by many of different names. The old bait and switch, the boiler room, the bunko game, the con job, confidence trick, flim flam, get rich quick, hustle, matrix scheme, pump and dump, pyramid racket, rip off, the shell game, skin game. Not what you're thinking. The sting,
It's absolutely what I'm thinking.
the swindle,
You had me at pump and dump.
and the infamous Ponzi. I'll actually be narrowing it down to just the pyramid and the Ponzi's. There are some subtle differences with that, so buckle up. Let's do this, bitches. Here's a little history lesson. Let's focus on our good friend Ponzi.
Hey.
Good enough. So Ponzi scheme is actually named after the Italian postal worker immigrated to the U.S. named Carlo Pietro Giovanni Guglielmo Tabaldo Ponzi. Say that.
No.
Paco.
Well, so Carl Peter Joe Julian? Yeah. So anyways, he was known in the 1920s by swindling mofos with discounted postal coupons from other countries. My dago. So he aligns with two of my, well, I guess, you know, he's a postal worker and he's got Italian heritage there. So I was just trying to represent, you know. What is it?
We have pictures, Google images of pyramids.
That looks just like a pyramid from
It's a scheme. It's a scheme. Don't fall for it, Justin.
I couldn't spell scheme, so I just put pyramids.
Close enough. So yeah, this dude was a legend. He, Mr. Ponzi, he got away with this arbitrage for about a year or so. He started with about $2 in his pocket and then he took these dummies for about roughly 2.5 mil. Adjusted for inflation, 2.5 mil. Well, I guess $1 then was just under $15 now. So 2.5 mil would have been 32 mil today. That's a lot of money. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
More than I'm ever going to see.
Take that one to the bank and cash it.
I can't.
But you could if
Because
you
I was
had-
schemed out of it.
So he just came up and said, "Ti ho prosso in colliano di mamma." That's what he would have said. Anyways, none of you guys are going to get that.
That's sexy.
Yeah. So, that's what he did. He took it to the bank and cashed it. He actually worked alongside of a banker in Canada until that banker, for some reason, came into the States. I guess he fled for some reason. I don't know if there was any illegal activity or if things were just closing down. But anyways, this WAP, he came back and tried to cash a check in the U.S. where they ended up catching him. Blam. Busted. He did some time in the big house, and then while he was in the big house, get this, he was actually a translator for the warden for a mobster. His name was Ignacio the Wolf Lupo. He ended up getting uptight with him and a few other market fellas while he was behind bars. He tried his hand again when he got out with connections of the Lupo and these other market fellas. He got to the point where he was making about $1 million a day, which that's ridiculous. So
That's good stripper money.
It's
Well-
not much at all.
what would you do with $1 million a day?
Mississippi stud.
Oh my God. I would waste that money on so much crap, unnecessary crap.
You know what I do with $1 million a day? I'll tell you.
2 chicks at the same time.
Chicks at the same time.
Let's check those
Let me tell you,
prices.
Peter, man.
I think I would like to open up a Smith museum, a Smithsonian. That's what I'll call it.
Really?
Yeah. And I'll see if you guys can be a part of it. Can I Smith you guys?
How much money you need from us?
I pay you. It's just your stuff. Smith, SMIF, the Save My Ink Forever. I can put cut your tattoos off when you guys die. Not that I have a plan for that or anything. Put it in a frame, throw it up on a wall. Smithed.
Call it art.
Boom. That's what it is. It is art, right? It's body art. It's going to be wall art once you're dead. So, where do you guys want to sign?
You just show me where to sign, bub.
All right. Anyways, so back to Ponds. Well, after so much time scheming, the Post newspaper got involved in the investigation, and actually 75% or more of the local police force was involved in his little schemes, which didn't really help him because throughout like 15 years or so, he was back in and out of prison. So much for having them on your payroll, or the other way around. Yeah, no, that. I can't think. Get that chicken out of my face. So he tried to get deported once he was being followed up on his little schemes, but they ended up catching him. He ended up, after a while, getting out again, and then going back to the motherland, in Italy with no luck, and ended up dying in Brazil of a heart attack January 18th of 1949. Poor paisano. So his actual biography was actually pretty. It was pretty. I've been saying actual. I'm sorry, guys. We'll edit all those out. We have this filter.
No, we won't.
We have this filter for Jeremy because of his excess use of a certain word that we're not supposed to say, and it actually catches it pretty well. So we can get one for the actual part. Yeah, thanks. So yeah, his biography had like a little quote which I want to read here. It says, "Even if they never got anything for it, it was cheap at that price, without malice aforethought. I had given them the best show that was ever staged in the territory since the landing of the Pilgrims. It was easily worth $15 million to watch me put that thing over." And I was like, shit, this dude could write stories. I'd say, grab DiCaprio and Hanks and put them in a movie. Let's write this stuff, you know.
It sounds like a movie that they've already starred in.
What are you doing? All right.
Fun.
It's vaffanculo. Yeah. So ultimately, the Ponzi scheme is pretty much robbing Peter to pay Paul, pretty much capitalizing on some interest, start off with an initial investment with promise of higher returns, insert some sort of investment bullshit jargon, vernacular, offer statements so these ignorami can see growth. Oh, but don't ever tell them that they can make any withdrawals for a period of time. So they end up just pretty much losing their money. And there you have it. That's the Ponzi scheme. So if only he would have called this a multi-level marketing, he probably would have got away with that. Those are like the Mary Kays, the Amways, etc. Yeah. Anything on the Ponzi part for now? We're going to move this along. Move it along. So, yeah. No, I kind of find it funny that a lot of the multi-market businesses, they share a lot of the same thing with the pyramids, but pyramids are considered illegal. Do you guys know why that is?
Why?
I don't know. I don't know. The article said it was an 8-minute read, and who has time for that? And I'm not above a third grade reading level.
8 minutes.
So
It's a minute-long read. That's still too long for me.
So
I've never 8 minutes of my life.
pretty much what I gather that each state's they seem to have like their own little differing laws that pretty much say the same thing, usually along the same lines of unfair trade practices, mostly resulting into fraud when they are actually charged. The biggest difference is multi-level marketing businesses. They're more inclined to selling a product rather than your recruits, oftentimes with fees, but more of an affiliation. So you sell your product instead of having more people gather, and stuff like that. If you run and tell a friend, you get a piece of the pie. That's pretty much it. So you got to do is finagle the model right. We'll get off fine in court. So we're good. No. So pyramids are intrinsically the same, formula plus or minus a variable degree. It goes boom. You got your chief honcho, the main recruiter at the top, with his diabolical racket plan.
The scam artist?
Yeah, the one churning the gears there. Then you grab a few morons to pay some of the fees to get in on the goods, which is more so of a club, not necessarily any goods. And then you grab their dimwits and tomfools and simpletons. Now, I don't know what the hierarchy is with these misnomers, but that's besides the point. We can address this at a different episode. Otherwise, you can file a complaint with the Boundless PodTrap email. I will warn you, though, that there is a hefty processing charge, but you can minimize that charge if you get 3 or more people to file with an ID number that we assign you. So, anyway, these muttonheads are easily bought into some fraudulent business idea, and they pay their fees all the way up the chain. That's pretty much a pyramid. Now, the obvious issue with pyramids is that once everyone is in, everyone is in. You can't market off anybody. You're paid on recruits for the most part. Many routine incentives of pyramids is to, lose my voice. That's kind of crappy if you're going to be talking for a podcast. So anyways, where was I? Which, this kind of brings me to a personal story, a pyramid scheme that I was kind of involved in. I assume half of you listeners are going to smile and laugh once you hear what this one was. Fucking Cutco Cutlery. Sorry, I'm not proud.
I thought you were going to talk about the dick enlargement pills you were trying to sell me.
Oh, those, I'm still doing that. Are you out?
I mean, they've got me to 1.5 inches, so I'm not going to stop now.
I've been taking them for 10 years, and it's going backwards.
Like candy.
Well, you maxed out. I told you to stop once you hit the max. It's only going to revert now.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
I got something else for you if you want to buy into that.
Anyways. You got to cut the skin so it can go farther. Don't you watch those old HBO sex shows?
The doctor's offices are closed right now. It takes a long time to get in because of coronavirus.
Do you guys want to...
Keep going.
You guys want to play a game? Cut off our foreskin and see who can grow it back faster?
I'm at you. That's already been done.
I'm eating mine.
You already cut it off?
I'm eating mine right now. It's called beef jerky.
So anyways, my personal story, I was in the military for a while. I got out. I was pretty much riding on the GI Bill. I wanted some money to kind of, hold me over, do some other stuff, I guess. Then one of my friends who coincidentally enough signed up to the military with me, but ended up not going. So he showed me or told me about Cutco Cutlery, the fine knives and cutlery and stuff. And this is how you lose friends. So, went to this interview, and the manager, facilitator guy, he came out with, like, his big smile. And there I was, just sitting in the chair, watching him walk out, and, all slow motion, sporting that one of those little high-end Gucci suits, maybe Dolce or Prada. I don't know. I'm not really a suit guy. But you can't help yourself. And he just, like, radiated with that smile. And it's like, I just wanted to, he had that douchery. I wanted to punch him in the face, like, okay, this is what we're doing. But I didn't because I needed money, so I stuck it out. He even had one of, like, those douchebag names, and I'll just put him on blast here. His name was Brent. So Brent here, actually, I do apologize if we have any listeners named Brent. Actually, I would like to personally apologize to you. It might seem insensitive of me, but I assure you that it's, I want you to know that we care. So if you would want to maybe email me with my name and the topic of the Boundless PodTrap email, and I can send you a link. But you will have to pay $20 for the since I have to host it. But for each email that you put in of your friends, that can take off $2 a piece. So Yeah. Just to help, because I care. All right, I respect you. Back to douchebag Brent. All right. So this guy was just extremely fake. Like he didn't have, I don't know. He had like this saying, or every time he talked, he had that very breathy like talk. It's like, hey, what's up? Hey guys, hey, have a seat. What's up? And he always said like the same thing, like the same word, touch base. And I could not. Every time he said touch base, it was just like a. He's like, yeah, we'll touch base later on that. Hey, let me know how your sales are doing. We'll touch base on that. It's like, fuck, dude, enough of that. Like he's way too positive in a fake way. Like he's just bottling all this up for, yeah. So like anything that you're not supposed to do, I pretty much bought into this before actually getting paid. So in any sort of like pyramid or Ponzi or something like that, you don't pay money up front unless it's a legitimate service. So that's pretty much pyramid scheme 101. You know, you get your little knife kit and a script to go off, and you go through like the demo. And it's all good shit. Don't get me wrong. Like, you know, they talk about like your full tang handle, your 3 rivets, your ergo, you know, handle shape forms. You're sharp enough to cut paper slice of a tomato. And I'm like, no, I'm Italian. You cut a tomato in 4 and you give me a piece. That's how that guy's. You can't even taste a paper thin slice of a tomato. Like, why would anybody do that? Unless you're making like some sort of intricate butterflies in a bowl with tomatoes as a centerpiece for some Mediterranean festival, you cut chunks. I like tomatoes, guys. I can bring you some if you want. You sure? All right. So anyway, after trying to keep my friends and only demoing my family, one of my last door-to-door demos was this Grammama.
Grammama.
Yeah, it's Grammama. So I saved up enough to get like some nice threads. I actually went out of my way to, you know, try to do something, I guess, for this business, instead of just being jeans and a shirt type of thing. I mean, I wasn't anything like Brent over there rocking his $3,000 Brioni custom vest, pockets, cuff rings, you know, but I don't normally dress up like this. I look like a gigolo in slacks and a dress shirt, you know. Is that a bad thing? No? All right. So Grammama opens the door, you know, and she greets me. She looks a little disgruntled, so off to a good start. And so I come into her place, say something nice about her place, outdated wallpaper, etc. I'm not yet off the script, so I have to keep on pulling my binder back and forth from her, but I'm trying to show her the visuals. You know, she keeps on sliding it back, and it's kind of like when you let someone borrow your phone and they keep on swiping you know, if you're trying to show them a picture and they keep swiping, you're like, no, Grandma, we're not on that part yet. And you kind of have to also hide that back page with the actual prices of these knives, because you have to try to talk them down. And that's, yeah, it's craptacular. So, yeah, where was I? Kind of going off of like a little note here. So this little leather demo was, how do I describe it? So you hand them the knife, and then you take this leather demo piece of leather, you hold it between both of your hands, and they're supposed to just saw a little bit and then press down. And what she did is she sawed, the one little stroke of saw, and then instead of going straight down, she went out of side. You know, vicious attack by Grandma. She just cut both of my wrists, and I'm not bleeding. Okay, I am bleeding. She actually cut like the little pad of my thumb here, and she just put the knife down. And I made a little reaction. I'm like, you got me. And she didn't say anything. So we're sitting there in like an uncomfortable silence. Like, okay, what are you going to do? So the blood is pulling up, and I'm trying to go back over part of the demo here, and then, I just bought this nice shirt, so I uncuff it and I start rolling it up because she's not doing anything about it. And then, I have my hand held up like this, and it's obvious that I'm bleeding. And yeah, it drips onto the table, and she looks at me and she goes, "Oh, you're bleeding." And I'm like, "Yeah, you cut me." So she gets pissed off, and I'm like, "Why are you going to get pissed off because you cut me?" She goes to the little kitchen area, gets me one of those little mini Dixie napkins, comes back, gives it to me, and I'm like, I got this. How about you go sit over there in that little chair? You know, it's probably time for your nap. You had a long day. I'll clean this up and pack things up. You know, maybe I'll tuck you in right before your nap, and you better bet damn sure I'm going to steal that bag of Werther's or on the coffee table right before I leave. So yeah, she didn't buy anything. She cut me. That was the last little demo or whatever of that Cutco cutlery thing I did. I said fuck that and try to get an actual job. So yeah, mind the pyramids.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you'll get cut with by grandmas. That's how pyramid schemes work.
Oh.
And I just lined that dude's pockets for nada. Yeah.
Did you get paid by like the hour or by
No,
commission?
it was mainly commissions. But like the only people who bought things was like my mom and her friend. It's yeah.
Did you ever get to cut any like shoes in half or anything cool like that? Or?
Yeah. I mean, like most people actually did make money for this, but it's like I don't have those types of connections. I mean, I could have. Some people might say I wasn't cut for it. I'm like, I was cut for it. That's
Literally
why I left.
were cut for it.
My mom had one of those people, like a vacuum salesman, come to her house when she was remodeling. And that you've seen my mom's house.
Oh, yeah.
How she has that like super tall kitchen area.
Yeah.
And she has a ceiling fan that's way up. I think her kitchen's 16-foot ceilings. And this kid came in trying to sell vacuums. And my mom's like, oh, does it have an extended thing on it? And the kid's like, yeah, it reaches way tall. She's like, show me how we can clean that ceiling fan up there. And he's like, oh. And so he puts it on. And she's like, cool. Can it get those beams? And she made that fucker clean her ceiling. She couldn't reach.
That's what you got to do.
So she basically hustled him.
Yeah, it was fucking great.
She's like, I'm not getting on a ladder. Get your ass up there.
I've never had a story or encounter with a door-to-door salesman or anything like that. I may have, but if somebody's ringing my doorbell that I don't know, I'm not answering it. So
You are also the most paranoid out of the three of us.
I wouldn't say paranoid.
We would.
I would say I've been through a lot, and so I know better.
You're the most cautious.
Yes. Yeah. That's a better word, cautious.
I am the least cautious.
Oh, I know you are.
You're like, hey, come on.
Who are you? Who are you? Are you going to kill me? No. Are you sure?
I believe you. You have a kind face.
Behind that mask, I bet's a kind smile.
That's the thing, though. Like, Lonnie, you are like the kindest, nicest, caring person that I know. Like, and don't take this the wrong way, but like, if you were to look at you, you wouldn't get that vibe.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a mean way. I know that sounds like a mean way.
You
but
look like a douchebag,
you look
but you're really nice.
You would hug your killer.
Be like, please don't stab me in the back. Will you please do it in the front?
I
don't want to judge you when I'm dying.
Oh my goodness.
So Ponzi schemes, huh? Where'd that come from? Did you just want to talk about getting stabbed by an old lady?
Kind of. Not that I wanted to.
Is that a true story or is that a BS made up story?
It's a true story.
I feel like he's told us that before.
It's what's the word I'm looking for?
It's not fabricated.
Yes.
Or elaborate. It is pretty much the exact concrete, like, as is happened.
See, I'm looking at you as you say this.
I don't know.
Your mouth and voice is telling me one thing, but your eyes are telling me another thing.
I feel like you tell him that a lot.
I
That
do.
came out way smooth. Came out way too smooth. Like practice.
Every morning. I say
Your eyes say no, but your mouth says yes.
That's our new hit song.
Jeremy, I have to leave. Your mouth is saying one thing.
So I will say this. After hearing our three topics, they were all kind of different. I think, Lonnie, yours and I was kind of along the same line. And Justin, I'm going to say yours.
Fucking left field.
Yours, yeah, definitely.
It's the same thing. It's killers and clowns and stuff scheming people out of, Yeah.
I thought I was the Jew in the group.
All right. Well, before we get to our main topic, we have another sponsor that we want to plug right now. This is probably move your hands away from any of those sound effect buttons. Another sponsor is Now This Is Wrestling. Now This Is Wrestling is a local professional wrestling promotion here in Omaha, Nebraska. You can look us up on Facebook. That's pretty much the only social media platform that we have: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. But yeah, we obviously haven't been doing much for the Now This Is Wrestling because of the coronavirus. But if you want to stay up to date with everything that's coming up with Now This Is Wrestling, which we do have some big things planned coming up in the future, check us out on Facebook at Now This Is Wrestling. So that brings us to our main topic tonight. And gentlemen, okay, I'm not gonna lie, I thought that was a sound effect that you had like pre-programmed there because I didn't see you saying it. I was like, what song is that?
Tonight.
So before we get started with this topic, again, our topic is, are technology and social media destroying the world? Now, I'm going to kind of take the lead on this one here. I did write something up here. I will try not to talk too long with it. But so here we go. It's no secret we live in a world with a lot of technology that makes it so we don't have to get off the couch to buy your family's Christmas presents. Technology can even park your car for you or even drive for you if you really wanted it to. Some of these technological advances can even play music, turn on and off lights, lock your doors, research whatever topic you're interested in, or even order you food with the sound of your own voice by saying, "Hey Alexa," or "Hey Google." We have robots that build things or that can even deliver products to people. Hell, you don't even have to have an actual physical person ring you out at the store. I've even seen technology at fast food places that grab a cup, fill the cup, and even put the lid on the drink without a single human touch. On the other end of this topic, we have social media, an idea developed to help friends and family easily stay in contact with one another. By simply uploading a picture or a group of pictures, and with the click of a button, you can share these pictures with your whole family and friends. You could, in seconds, let everyone know your mood, whether you are happy because your significant other surprised you with breakfast in bed, or how you were angry because your boss told you that you couldn't get overtime anymore. No more printing out or sending your family's Christmas pictures to everyone you know and are close with. All you have to do is upload that picture to social media and add your own quirky message, and boom, bam, your whole friends list has your Christmas photo. You are able to easily share that funny video you were talking to your friend about at work or with anybody else you wanted to. Gone are the days of writing letters with your own personal touch and sending family photos. Social media took that burden and made something that once took several minutes, even hours to do, down to only seconds, allowing you to have extra time to do whatever. Both technology and social media were invented and finessed to make life easier for all. So how could two things like this develop into something so evil and hideous? For the next hour or so, we are going to delve into the negative sides of both of those topics and how I personally feel the world would be so much better and a less hate-filled place without them. Let me preface this by saying I know we are using both technology and social media for this podcast. I should clarify that I don't believe 100% of technology and social media are bad. There are some good and some bad, mostly bad. So with that said, let's delve into this. So I would want to start off. I want us to talk about technology first before we delve into social media. And the main thing I want to talk about first about technology is, well, actually, before we go into that, you guys, do you have anything to say after the little thing that I read there?
Both topics, I have mixed feelings on about both. I mean, I waver equally, I guess, on both.
I used to be more pro technology and social media, but as the world goes on, I'm more against it.
Right. I feel I will be more pro if we as people can focus more on psychological issues.
Yeah.
Which we'll digress on that a little later.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm the good country boy at heart. I'm very against technology, very against social media. I mean, if you can't find me, that's because I don't want to be found. So being able to find me from the mini computer in my pocket or the numerous other ways to find me.
Microchip that's
Right.
implanted in your...
Right. It's just, I don't like it. I miss the days of kids playing in the dirt and, be home when the street lights come on and being safe with those things. And we just don't live in that world anymore.
Well, back in those days, it made you more creative.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, how many of us as children would see a twig on the ground that was semi-shaped like a gun, and we picked it up and we pretend like it was a machine gun, and we were playing with our friends in the backyard or in the park, chasing each other with sticks that look like guns, and using our imagination, like throwing like a pile of leaves or something as like a grenade. You don't have that nowadays because of technology. Yeah. All kids want to do, and that kind of leads into the first topic here, is technology making people lazy.
Right. So I think that is actually kind of a result of some of the technology, though, too. It was the kids playing in the dirt and stuff like that who ended up developing these broader forms of communication, information transferring.
This is true. I never looked at it that way. But at the same time, by doing that, I think it was not done as a way to, I think the end game for them was not a way to make things better for people. It was more to line their pockets, I think, with money. I really, I don't have any kids of my own. Lonnie, you have a baby infant that
I
isn't.
kind of have one.
Yeah. And Justin, you have two daughters. One is she 5 now, or she's 6? She's teen.
She acts like it.
Yeah. But I mean, she's probably at that stage now where she could be going outside a lot more. But I have 4 nephews. They range from, I believe, like age 8 all the way up to one will be turning 18 here in a few days. And then I have a niece who will be turning 4 in a couple of weeks. And they do like going outside, but especially with my nephews, like when I'm over there, it's just like always, can we play Xbox, or can we go on YouTube for a while? And granted, when I was younger, when I was their age, technology was just starting. Like, you were considered somewhat wealthy if you had a computer.
Right.
And I remember the day that my sisters and I did get a computer, like, oh my God, yeah, it was great. And we were, when we first got it, we were on it a lot, but it's never, even with video games, like, having a Super Nintendo or whatever, that never really took precedence over, I wanted to go outside more. And I was outside as much as I could with my friends, whether we were playing football, jumping on a trampoline, going to the park that was in my backyard. We were finding anything and everything to do outside. Right. That had nothing to do with technology. But now kids have these mini computers, like you called it. I mean, to me personally, I don't think a kid deserves a cell phone until they're graduated from high school.
Dude.
Until they're smart enough to be able the responsibility to own one.
Exactly. iPads are another thing. Like, kids could have an iPad, but it's just like, to me, not only is the technology making the kids lazy by constantly being on it, it's making the parents lazy, because that is the parents' go-to move. Like, I don't really feel like playing with my kids or watching my kids right now. I just want to relax and do whatever I want. Go watch YouTube on your iPad for a little while. And I think that's sad in itself too, that adults don't really want to spend time with their kids. And I'm not saying everybody, but I know there's a lot of people out there that they do that. And after a long, rough day or a rough week, that's forgivable maybe to do on the weekend. But like I said, I think that's a lot of people's go-to moves.
I agree. Technology and social media by itself, I only see it as a tool. And the tool is used how the operator wants it or wants to use it. So, and with like social media or well, I guess technology for this whole topic, especially with the with kids, I mean, they're getting trained from a younger age to get those dopamine fixes and stuff like that. So it does kind of numb them out. They want the bigger and better type of products or emotion, the feeling, I guess, so that they can get hooked. And these things, these technology and the social media platforms, they fight for your attention. Every time ding, ding, it's like you got to stop what you're doing, reach in your pocket and look at it.
Yeah.
It's like personally, I turn off my email. I keep my notifications on, but I don't always check it like when I get it and stuff. I feel discipline is a important skill that has been brushed aside. People don't care about it. They already have something that'll make it easier, and they, I don't know. I'm a big proponent of I guess working on yourself intrinsically.
So you feel that people should be able to train themselves, like when that alert goes off on your phone, you don't need to, like how you said, stop everything and look at it. Like, discipline yourself. Like, you can, whatever that ding was is probably not that important that you need to stop what you're doing at work or what you're doing with your family.
Right. It's like these can make things all the more efficient. Like if you're trying to accomplish a certain task, it can, set a time or structure something that you don't have to waste, like paper or something. And I'm also a big proponent of doing things manually as well.
Am I? Yeah.
And I journal a lot. Writing it down. There's something about putting pen to paper that connects certain neurons that makes you remember things. Whereas if I read something digitally, it's in and then it's out sometimes, depending on the importance or many factors in that area or that place and time. What I ate, my energy levels, what's on the agenda, what's next, what other disruptions do I have by or near me, etc. But I see technology pretty much as a tool.
I think that the original inventors of some of these technologies really at their heart had good in mind with it. Like the Alexander Graham Bell, the inventor of the telephone. I really think that his vision and idea was to help me communicate with somebody across town without having to write them a letter or take my wagon or whatever to them. But then it's like over time you get these new people that are like, I'm going to fabricate, or whatever the word is, this idea of the phone. And now people can not only call people on this device, like it started out with cord, then we had the cordless phones, and then we had cell phones. Now this device that you can call people with, you can now send them a digital message. Like it's basically like email, a text message. And then it's just like from there, it's just like somebody else came along and they're like adding this and this and this. And it's like, what are we doing to society? Why are we making things so freaking touch of a button type of thing to do? Like, I just feel that, and this is the whole point of this, like the world in 2020, this is the shittiest the world has ever been.
Right.
This world is so fucked up. It's not even funny. It's so fucked up that, granted, I don't really want kids, but if I wanted kids, I would seriously, at this point, if I hadn't had a kid, question, do I want to bring a kid into this world? Because by the time the kid is old enough to know what's going on in this world, by the time they're in high school or they're graduating high school, can you imagine how much more effed up this world is going to be? And it is because of technology and social media that this world is the way it is right now.
Well, when you look at the horror genre in general, like when they have to change time periods or change locations because cell phones
call somebody
exist. Yeah, right. They have to change time periods and change locations because cell phones exist. They have to completely change the structure of their movie. Like, call somebody. Like, I'm trapped in the woods. Make a phone call. Movie's over.
I base a lot of horror movies I watch, if I'm going to continue watching them, off of that first 15, 20 minutes to when the main group gets to their location, how they're like if it's a ditzy girl getting out of the car with her cell phone, like, oh my God, no service. I'm like, okay, I'm done with this movie.
Fuck this movie, yeah. Or like if a movie starts and it's a new movie, it's like, it's 1974. I'm like, well, they fucked it.
Well, Rob Zombie, who's like one of my favorite people.
No. I'm not rolling your eyes. I love Rob Zombie movies, but it's like, how much Rob Zombie cock are you gonna suck?
I'm just saying, he said that he likes the 70s and he likes writing his movies in that time era because of the fact that they didn't have cell phones back there. He even said in the movie, he's just like, the movie's solved. They make a phone call. If something's going on, they make a phone call and boom. So he's like, let's go to the 70s before there were cell phones in everybody's pockets.
You can hook a little bit more danger with less technology for sure. Unless you get like, one missed call type of
Killers inside the house.
Lawnmower Man.
You know what? Something about technology that's happened that it used to be something I loved as a kid. Remember, like, going like, oh, dude, Friday, the new Friends is coming out. You gonna come over and watch it with me? Like, you'd have to wait all fucking week to watch a show.
Oh, God, yeah.
And it was more of a social thing.
You got so excited about it. Yeah, and, like, now it's like, oh, the new Friends season's out. You want to come over and binge watch it with me? Like,
No, you don't even go over to watch.
You don't get excited about anything.
You just talk about it on social media.
Right.
Like, hey, Lonnie, did you see when Ross and Rachel broke up?
It's like, no, because
we're dating ourselves.
Because I don't like penis.
And and that's that thing too, is like technology, mainly cell phones, have basically, you have no social life even when you're with your family and your friends. I mean, prime example, you go to like a Thanksgiving with your family. What's or not even Thanksgiving,
like restaurant.
If you go to a restaurant, what is everybody doing when they get there between ordering, waiting for their food? They're on their goddamn cell phones.
You better not take a fucking picture of your food.
Exactly. You're with your family. You're with your friends. Talk to them. Engage with them. You don't need to be taking a picture to put on Snapchat of what your fucking boneless wings look like. I seen boneless wings. I've ate boneless wings. There's nothing special about your goddamn boneless wings. And I have several friends on Facebook too that every day they post pictures of their breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it's like they made it. And it's like, it's hash browns and eggs. Cool. You put pepper on it. You put pepper on your eggs. Like, that doesn't...
Do it before, after your meal, before eating. And
I'm going to just start doing the afters. People can see my shit.
Yeah.
And that's like, and it's like the amount of people, like, obviously it's your Facebook. You can do whatever you want, your social media platform. I don't care. And it doesn't bother me, except I see like this person puts a picture of their burnt eggs and their burnt hash browns that look that don't look good.
You nasty.
And they got like 400 likes and 300 comments. And it's just like, I'd put something up creative that I made and I take a picture of it that's like actually took time and skill. And it's like 22 likes and
too long, didn't
one
read.
comment.
You got 22 likes, bro.
And it's like,
High five.
it's like your aunt, like, great job. It's like, oh, there's some people, it's like, I could put like nothing up there. I could put a picture of like my poop and they'd be like, great job.
Like,
but
care.
But yeah, it's just, it's annoying when you go places and it's like, that's what everybody's doing, especially the teenagers. It's like, there is put your phone down, look up, there's life going on. And that's what scares me, is that what this world's going to come to when these kids become adults. Like, I think I'm a very creative person, and a lot of that had to do with my imagination as a kid and things that I did with my friends keeping busy. And I see one of my nephews, the youngest one, and one of the middle ones too, they're both super creative. The youngest one especially, like, some of the things that he comes up with, where like he comes up to me and he's like, so Jeremy, and he's got like these two toys and he's like, this one is from this galaxy and this and that. And I'm just like, oh, is that like the galaxy, like where it actually came from? And he's like, no, I just made that up. And I'm like, wow, this kid has it. Like, he needs to hone that creativity and keep with it, because man, I don't know. I'm scared of what this world's going to be like when the kids today are running things.
Right. So I agree with most of that.
Shut the fuck up.
Except all the parts where you were talking.
I disagree with the parts of like, this is the worst time in history type of thing. It's like, I feel like this is kind of the best time in history. It's just like the social media, going back to like, some of these products. We'll go with like Facebook and stuff like that. Yeah, a lot of the creators, their project is not probably what it was intended to be. Like Facebook was supposed to be like a college, platform for college students and stuff like that. Everybody's taking it over. It's pretty much the loudest or the most saturated sort of posts is what that sort of media becomes. You know, like Instagram is pretty much like bikini models, you know, showing off tits and ass type of thing. Facebook is everybody crying about any sort of little thing, you know. But I mean, we have all these technological advances as far as like medicine, communication. I mean, vehicles, you know, yeah, you name it. Everything has kind of, you know, it keeps on getting better. But as far as like the utilizing that sort of imagination, yeah, we need to unplug for that, and most people don't. So I'm with you with that, and I think it kind of goes back to like pretty much behavioral psychology, discipline and stuff.
You can get all your porn from one website now. You don't have to go looking for it.
In Daddy's closet.
You can, yeah. You're not peeking under mattresses. You can get all your porn from one place now.
But you say that as a joke, but come on, like, yeah, as a kid, if Pornhub would have been around when I was a kid,
dude, Popeye fucking
I would
arms.
probably have to. I probably would have had to have my dick surgically removed because I would have been probably like whacking it way too much. But it was the excitement as a kid of going over to your friend's house, and this is a true story, going over to one of my friend's house and him telling me about like how his dad had all these Playboys and porno VHS tapes in his office somewhere. And so he would send his dad to the store to get something, and we had like 15, 20 minutes to try to fucking break into his dad's filing cabinets to see if the porn was in there. I mean, that was the thrill back then.
Remember back then when you used to have like boner hearing? When you're trying to
boner hearing?
Yeah.
I've never heard boner hearing. Explain.
It's like when you're trying to, you know, do the deed, but like you think your parents are on their way home type of thing. So you're like,
It's like you had to get it done. The speed whack.
Like, what's that? Somebody's coming.
I'm telling you, once I get in the zone, my what did you call it again? Boner hearing?
Yeah, that's what
it didn't matter because
you should have knocked, Mom.
If
like, oh no,
if my sister or my aunts or cousins or anybody are listening, skip ahead probably 30 seconds right now. Go ahead. We're waiting. There was one
you
time. You
don't tell them to skip ahead and then pause.
There was one time, I guarantee you my dad walked in on me masturbating because it was when we had our computer downstairs, and I think we had just gotten back from a family vacation. And obviously when you're on family vacations, you can't masturbate. I mean, you could, but yeah, you don't. And so it was like, you're just like, all right, first chance I'm alone at home or whatever, I'm going to do the deed. And I thought I was being very careful, and then all of a sudden my dad had a unique cough, and all of a sudden I heard him coughing in the fucking laundry room right next door. I'm like, guarantee you that man just walked into the basement and saw me whacking it in the computer chair, and I was scarred from there on. I think my boner hearing really tuned up. Anyways, we're getting off topic here.
Quick sidebar. Did you guys have the stump growing up?
The fuck did you just say?
The porn stump. Did you have the porn stump?
Oh, my parents used, well, my mom mainly, and she loved finding it too.
Okay, you say porn stump, and I'm thinking that's the nickname for your penis. What?
No.
It's like the blanket or whatever,
No.
and anything that you hide your porn under.
Yeah. So the little town, Silver City, I took you to it. We're right next to the bike trail, and there was like 6 kids in town. We had the porn stump because obviously, as kids, you don't have a plethora of porn. You have like 2 porn mags to share between 6 kids.
Oh, I had
we had the porn stump. So we'd take the porn mag and put it in a little plastic bag, and when you were done with it, you took it to the porn stump. There was an old stump. If you went down the bike trail, past the bridge, and then you made a left, there was an old hollow stump. You put it in the bag and you put it in the stump.
We didn't have that. I
always
had it in my room.
Yeah.
I've had many a times coming home from school. My mom has everything like displayed like a magazine aisle type of thing on the couch. I'm like, oh, you found it again.
It's just like, I told you, Justin, quit touching my magazines.
Oh yeah, the porn stump. And if you were lucky enough that no one else had the goods, reach in the porn stump, take the bag, be like, "I'm you."
That's how you get Corona.
It's like the porn library. But it was a stump.
I must have been like less fortunate because growing up, I hardly had porn. It wasn't until we got a computer and we had AOL, and it took fucking 5 minutes to download a picture of
56 megabyte
of Pamela Anderson's tits. But
It's like, you've got, hello, goodbye.
You hear somebody pick up the phone upstairs, and you're like, son of a bitch, I'm gonna get booed.
Charming.
No, I had to use like Good Housekeeping magazine.
Oh my God. That's a pretty horse.
Yeah, but anyways,
Yes.
obviously technology made us pervs.
The focus or the attention, I guess, for kids these days, for sure. Like, man, my daughter, I guess, I mean, she watches quite a bit of stuff on a tablet. We have a friend who works with my wife who works in like the IT department area, and he was giving out some old phones that they can't do anymore. So he pretty much gave one for my daughter. I'm like, yeah, we'll probably put like some kids movies or something on it, and she can watch it in car rides or whenever. But now she just kind of wants to go back and forth to that. It's like, if you're not watching it, turn it off. I've told you like 4 or 5 times already, like, turn it off, do this, pick up this. It's like, it's harder listening, and not only just with technology, just with how people monitor you on how you raise your kids too. It's like, you can't do things how, like my dad used to pull my ear or, swat me on the butt. It's like, if I have to tell you again type of thing. It's like taking it away from
I'm
them.
gonna take your tablet away from you, and that's their punishment.
Yeah.
Or we got spanked on the bottom with a sandal. Or
Things would have been so much better if they didn't come down from the mountain with tablets for us.
the thing is too, I think we were raised that technology was like, this isn't a toy, and like if you had something technologically advanced, you felt like a rich person,
Right.
like when we got like a camcorder, like we had like one of those big ass, like what you'd see news,
Shoulder-mounted.
shoulder mounted VHS tape
Right.
video cameras. I used that thing all the way up until like the early 2000s, and that was, but like the first time that we as a family like upgraded to the small mini cam. God, I thought we were like freaking the richest people on the block, and out of my friends like, check this out. And it's like, but nowadays technology is made so cheaply, and I mean it's more expensive, but I don't know, people have ways to buy it. Like it's not as, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not as special as it used to be.
It's
Like,
lost its glimmer.
it has, especially like with phones. Like you get the new cell phone, and
You're over it within a day or two.
6 months later, if that, it's obsolete. And it's like you got to get this newest one if you want this feature. And it's like everybody's got to have all the features. And it's like, to me, a cell phone is to just call somebody. And yeah, I mainly text because I hate talking on the phone. So the text message is probably the best invention, I think. But it's also an easy way to send dick pics that,
Thank
like,
you for that.
yeah, Justin, I know you do that a lot. But no, another thing with like technology that I kind of want to get onto is I feel like technology is taking jobs away from people too. I mean, and Walmart is a prime example of that. When was the last time you guys stepped foot into a Walmart?
Yesterday.
About a week or two.
Do you notice how the self-checkouts are getting bigger and bigger, and the checkouts that an actual human being at are getting smaller and smaller? Granted, Walmart has like 50 lanes, but they always have like maybe 2 cashiers actually there all the time. That's another thing. It's like, why Walmart, especially a business that makes the amount of money it does, no matter what's going on in this world, obviously with the pandemic that we've been experiencing, Walmart never faltered with it. They were able to keep going, and in fact probably made a lot more money because they were the only place to be open. But a place like that should not have to rely on getting more technology so they don't have to pay as much in wages. That place can afford to pay a fully staffed Walmart with like 20 checkers if they wanted to.
Right.
But-
Decent wages at that.
But yeah, now it's like they're taking jobs away from people, and more places are going to be getting on. Like everybody has a self-checkout, and it's okay to have that. I personally will not use a self-checkout if I don't have to, because I'm not getting a discount for doing somebody else's job. But, and there's another thing that I was doing. Walmart now, if that wasn't bad enough, like, they're apparently getting rid of their door greeters too. which is sad because a lot of that was for people that
the elderly.
Right.
or maybe not mentally stable or mentally challenged were able to have those jobs, and it gave them a wage and money, and it gave them a sense of purpose.
Now, to be fair, that was actually a very demanding job because your job was to stop people and check their carts.
Yeah.
And if you get someone who actually is trying to steal or someone who is chippy with you, like, you have to deal with a lot. Like,
Well,
that was a very demanding job. I'm not saying I've ever had that job,
Right.
but I can assume. I watch lots of videos on my phone when I'm ignoring my son. That's a joke.
Well, not only that, but they're taking the door greeters away. They're expanding the self-checkouts so they're not having as many cashiers. But they are testing out in some Walmarts where they're having robots stock the shelves.
Yeah.
They have them programmed to go to a certain section of the aisle to rearrange, stock these shelves.
I usually belittle them. Like, get a real job.
Well, I mean, is that
Lazy
necessary?
fuck.
Why are we taking a job away from somebody? Like that's asinine to have a robot stock the shelves. We have advances in technology. That's just a little too much, in my opinion.
Well, let's devil's advocate here. Is it taking the job or is it redistributing the job? Because now aren't those people, like, isn't that just, now doesn't someone have to build the robot and do maintenance
But
on the
that's
robot?
the thing, is now to do a job like that, to build a robot and do maintenance on a robot, that takes a college degree. That's
Yeah,
that's
it's
not,
just-
you can't
Walmart
have
pays
an,
for schooling.
you can't have, look at nothing, like the people that are able to stock the shelves, you probably have to have just a high school degree.
Well, I'm saying,
And it's just like you're taking jobs away from the people that need jobs, and now you're only allowing people that have the career, the
Capacity.
college education and the diploma and all this stuff that aren't going to have a problem finding a job probably, and you're giving them more money, a job to do to build these robots. But it's just like, it's the whole thing of the rich get richer type of thing. And I just think that
doesn't it give those people more motivation to try to better themselves, though?
no,
Why?
because of the world we live in, and people are lazy. That's kind of a thing there. It's like,
Doesn't it?
But I mean, it gives them a reason to try to better
It gives them
themselves.
yeah. And if
If
they
they-
don't want to, it's Darwinism.
but I
If you
think
don't want to better yourself, don't be on this
I
planet
think
anymore.
Walmart is the business that they use as the guinea pig to test out these new technology things, and
It's usually big enough to always win, though.
it's going to pass these things on to
Yeah.
other businesses. And
It's
so
like-
everywhere is going to start doing this eventually, and it's going to be kind of like Back to the Future 2 when he goes back to the diner, and it's just like they have the robot TVs and like the robots that deliver your food. There's not a single human being there, and it's like,
So I understand it from time purposes and maybe even hygienic reasons why robots might be a little bit more better and efficient at that, because it's less people touching your potential food, and it's saving their back in a sense that they're not, constantly lifting and bending and all that. Not that they shouldn't have to, because I mean, like it's oops, breaking things over here. I mean, it's helpful physical work, or no matter how demanding, it's beneficial to you as long as you're doing it right. But
well, here's something that I'd like to get your take on, since you're a mail courier. Thought I'd try to sound professional there. Amazon Prime Air. They have drones that will deliver packages to houses and stuff like that. That's probably a test run to see how that goes, so that they can get rid of people like you, to where we don't even have to have somebody deliver the mail.
I don't want to say this is a fact, but the post office might have plans to shoot that down, allegedly.
The post office has guns.
No, personally, in my situation, that is a fear. Robots will be taking over our jobs. Things are going to be sent, electronically. But we do have a generation not only the elderly, but even younger people coming up too, who prefer to have their things in their hand. They don't really care for like the phrasing. No, but I mean, and we'll always be sending out like advertisements and stuff, and that in itself is job security. But I feel or think from what's coming down from above is, I mean, yeah, ultimately things are going to be geared more towards technological workings. I mean, we have like another 15 plus years until big drastic changes are going to take effect, but for the most part, there really isn't much that a robot can do that we, or I guess that they can do that. Yeah, we're able to do a lot more when it comes to diagnosing certain issues that are necessary when like people come for a question, or we're still demanded on the streets.
I just feel that, and I don't think it's going to take place. It might take place when we're elderly, but I think like these big technological advances like self-driving cars or even flying cars, that would be probably self-flying cars. I think that is going to be a thing. I mean, there are some self-driving cars already. They're in the testing stages, but I would not want to sell. Can you imagine the amount of
It's gonna be like Wall-E, huh?
shit that's going to happen like when that happens? Like especially if you have self-driving cars and non-self-driving cars, or a car that somebody is operating, the amount of accidents and chaos that's going to happen with that,
It's easy.
I
A
think
self-driving car, just hover above it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel that technology, again, there's good with it, but I'm seeing more and more bad with it. And the main thing I'm trying to get across is how technology is, making people lazy as shit to where like you don't even have to get off your couch to go grocery shopping now. You can do it online and have it delivered to your house. And yeah, you do have somebody that delivers it to your house until you get the frickin' self-driving cars, and then that person's out of a job, and now you just have a car driving to your house, leaving it at the end of your driveway. And I lost my train of thought there. The other thing, making people lazy and taking jobs away. So I kind of made my point at the end of that too, with taking jobs away. And I don't think that having robots and technology be doing everything for us is the answer and the safe, easiest thing to do in this world. Now, moving on to social media. The biggest thing with social media is it's a place that people can easily express their opinions. And that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Warranted or not.
It's just you have so many people out there that express their opinion, but then for everybody that expresses their opinion, you have a handful of them that don't agree with your opinion, and instead of having a civil conversation, resort to name calling and arguing and fighting, and this person's racist, that person's racist. And it's just a way for people to put their name, their face, and their opinion out there on topics that they really don't need to have their opinion out there for all to see.
Whoa. So you're telling me
Let me pose a question to you fellas on this and get your honest opinions, because we all kind of have a different opinion on this matter. Do you think the protests and the riots and all this would have been a quarter of as bad if social media didn't exist?
100%.
yes, definitely.
It wouldn't have probably even been a thing. Maybe a little bit here and there, but it's how many people that were protesting when you were watching the news and they did the wide angle, or even if you watched other people's videos, how many people had their cell phones up?
Hundreds of thousands.
And what were they
Throughout the
doing? Facebook Living.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
If Facebook Live was not around, or I'm only on Facebook. I don't know if Twitter and Instagram has like a live video feed thing too. If that didn't exist, the good portion of these people wouldn't even be out there, because a lot of people's goal is to have their video go viral.
Right.
so that they can have their 15 minutes of fame or whatever it is. They're not really out there for the cause. They're out there for the attention and to get the fame out of it.
I feel like they feel like they're out there for the cause, but most people don't analyze themselves enough to realize what their intentions are actually showing. Or, it is look at me, I captured this first type of dealio.
I've been there. I got the T-shirt. Kind of a thing.
It's like not only that, but so we have social media, and that's easier to get together to collaborate something, good or not. And in today's society, bad news travels faster. Like all this good stuff that's happening right now, it's like that's what I was saying. Like I disagree about today is like the worst it's ever been. Today's the worst it's ever been in the spread as far as negative news, real or not news. But it's also kind of it's very opinionated because people want things like, this is true, this is true. It's like not everything is hardcore concrete true. Like our ideas are opposing each other, in a sense that, how do I say it? Well, I mean, both of us can be true at the same time. It's just all about our perception. And usually it's the first perception that is the realist. It's not until you apply your opinion to it that it's no longer really real. And that's, I guess, how I feel. And that's my opinion.
Stupid. I mean, how do you feel about that, Lonnie?
I think there is more people fighting for the wrong reasons thanks to social media.
Yes.
I think there's more people hurting the cause than helping the cause thanks to social media.
Everything's taken with their feelings on their sleeve. So it's hard to, not that you have to win, but that you have to be, communicated clearly.
Well, it's and that's what a lot of people are doing wrong. This isn't a contest to win.
That's what a lot of people take it as.
No one's gonna. No one wins.
Right.
No one's gonna win, and that's what everyone on social media is trying to portray. Like, this is a contest, and we have to win. No, no one wins. No one is ever gonna win.
Right.
All you got to do is survive.
It's sad when you live in a world where if you, Lonnie, were to post something like along the lines, and I'm not saying you are a Trump supporter or anything like that, but if you're just like, if you posted something positive about Trump, you have
the word coming out.
25 people unfriend you, and even some of them could be family members because you support Trump.
Not
and
my family.
I'm just as an example. Like one of the things that I hate the most, and like I'm not on like dating sites and stuff, but like when I was on dating sites, when girls say like, Trump supporters swipe left, which means swipe left means that you don't like me, because if I find out you like Trump, I'm not even going to date you. I mean, give me a fucking break. Like, are we that kind of society that I can't be friends with you, Justin, because I don't like Trump, but you do, and fuck that we're never going to get along. That's just right there. That's ignorant to me.
As much as I don't like the dude, I feel dirty sometimes when I have to, I guess, fight for him in a sense that like the rhetoric that somebody else is spitting is just obviously false. It's like, well, I feel dirty now that I'm kind of defending him. I don't support him, but that's not true at all.
Yeah.
You can't even explain yourself in that. It's like you're just shut down.
Well, it's like the defense of, like, when you said you were military, correct? I support you, but I don't
Support the war.
Exactly, yeah.
Hey.
Fuck what you're doing, but I support you doing it.
Exactly.
And I will tell any soldier that, like, I've had many people laugh at me and make fun of me, because every soldier I'll see, I'll go up and shake their hand and say thank you.
Right.
And I mean, I've seen you look at me funny for doing that, but every single soldier I'll see, I'll say thank you, and they'll be like, fucking,
well, like
fucking, I'm like, no, I fucking hate what they're doing, but I appreciate them.
There's so many people.
Look at you.
No,
I was like, what the hell? I mean, at my work, when people give their military, or they ask if we give a military discount, and they show me the card, I always say thank you for your service. And
just like, it's more of a freedom of speech or expression in the way that, like, for example, throwing a flag on the floor, burning a flag. It's like, yeah, you have the right to do that. I don't think it doesn't ruin anything except for that piece of cloth. But the symbol of what that flag is, you didn't do anything to it. You just burned a flag that you paid well for with your money.
And they did it for attention.
Yeah.
And they did it on social media so they could get that attention, whether it's positive or more likely negative. And I mean, but that's the thing is, like, I used to love social media. And honestly, the only reason I still have a social media, the only thing I have is Facebook. The only reason I have it is because of things like this, because I'm in a lot of projects. And it is the easiest way to promote something or whatever. But it's the thing of nowadays, whenever I put a post out there, before I post it, I'm thinking to myself, okay, what flack am I going to get for this? And it's just like, it's not even worth it. Like, there's so many posts that I have typed up and I'm like ready to post it. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to do this just because I know that it's going to piss this person off and piss that person off, and they're going to come at me and they can't have a civil conversation. It's just like, that's stress I don't even want to have to deal with. And I think it's sad that we're in a world like that. And I mean, there are people that they don't give a shit. They're going to post what they want. But there are a lot of people too that it's just like I'm sure they have the same feelings as me, where they just are afraid to express their opinion because they're afraid they're going to get slayed verbally on Facebook or social media, or worse, when somebody sees them in public that knows who they are and stuff like that, beat the shit out of them.
Right. See, it shouldn't have to come down to something like that. It's like, you are free to express yourself, your opinions. I mean, most of us feel like we have more power when we can hide behind a computer and not get any sort of immediate consequence. So many people are like, I said what I said type of thing. And it's like, well, yeah, you did, but you're objectively wrong. It's like things work out differently elsewhere. Like, only in America, there's certain things that only happen here.
Social media has a purpose, but I think all the goods that social media has is wasted on the bads. I think we can all agree on that.
I agree.
And from our standpoint, where we use social media as a promotion platform to promote this and our other projects, people have to weed through all the negativity to get there. And like us sharing this, it should be a positive in people's life. Like when they're looking through the negativity and the bad in the world, they can see this and go, hey, these three assholes, maybe they can make me smile.
That's pretty much the point. It's like when I usually don't post anything if I need to vent or rant or something like that. I mean, if it includes a certain person, I'll just talk to that person. It's like my bullshit doesn't need to be aired out, I guess. And I don't think a lot of people understand how to be selective. It's like just getting out there to have a few people, back them to enforce their feelings for something. It's like you got to find ways to deal with certain things. Yeah. Well, with that, we're pretty much going on our 2-hour mark here. Man, this conversation can kind of go.
I feel like we're going to have to do like a second part of this because, I mean, there's a lot more on the list to talk about. But again, we kind of don't want to go too much over the 2-hour mark with this stuff. We figured with this inaugural one, we could go a little bit longer. But I just know that a lot of people, once the 2-hour mark hits on a podcast, they're kind of bored with it. And we don't want to get that way right away. So we will put a pin in this topic and we'll come back to it. But I really enjoyed this podcast tonight. And we're going to be doing our next one in a couple of weeks. We're going to record it. And again, we're going to hit our stride here, as things are going. Like Rome wasn't built in a day. That's the saying, right?
Sure.
But didn't Rome only last like a couple months? Fucking democracies.
Okay, so
No, it's still there.
A dictatorship.
Rome's still there.
Walmart wasn't built in a day, and they're not going anywhere. So that's a terrible thing.
No insurance for none ya.
Even though I just trashed Walmart and stuff like that, but no, I think this is going to be good. You kind of got an idea of what it's going to be. There was a little bit of everything in this podcast, and I have some topics. Well, we have a lot of topics in mind for our next episode, but we're definitely going to have some fun with this. Your guys' thoughts?
More to come. There's gonna be some more
So much coming.
games and stuff.
So much.
So much.
All over the place. I was just going to say that.
Ear holes.
But yeah, so you can hear this. We're going to be putting this up eventually. It's going to be Spotify, Podbean.
Quite a few different. I don't know. Whatever Justin puts it on.
We're gonna have
Your
it
lower back.
on all these platforms so that we can have more people listen to it.
Right now, you can catch it on Facebook and YouTube. I know if you use like the Brave browser. Otherwise, if you subscribe to the YouTube subscription, you can listen to it with your phone off. Screen off.
Probably not really that well.
What?
That's more the CIA catching you, listening to you with your phone off.
CIA. That's a made-up place. They're not real.
Who are they?
But yeah, so 2 weeks we will have our next episode up and going, and we'll have a lot of different topics to go over on that one. I'm sure Lonnie's are going to be more on the murderous side.
You can be assured.
Justin's going to talk about more pyramid schemes, and
I do what I can.
I'm gonna talk about whatever I want. So, all right, so that is this week's episode, our episode 001, our inaugural episode. Like us on Facebook, the Boundless PodTrap. Try to get us to 500 likes here in the next couple days. I know that's not a lot, but we're only like 180 away. So like us on Facebook, share our page, tell your friends about us, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode. Join us next time for more absurdity that only the guys from the Boundless PodTrap can bring you.